Greetings everyone and welcome back to Factory Town and to campaign level 3. Now this is the last but one campaign that I've actually managed to complete. Previously I've gotten as far as completing campaign level 4 and beyond that everything will be new to me. Now that being said, I do imagine there are going to be a few little things different to me in this campaign all the same. Though, let's just have a look at this little town. Right from the onset, I'm loving the little designs, the little pathways around houses, even though the actual entrance of this house is on this side, which is kind of amusing. In fact, we're going to change that up right now. I know we're starting off with something utterly non-required, but I don't care. It looks better this way. Now then, what are our goals? We need to get fish stew. Fish stew is made with fish, butter, so we're going to need to get dairy up and running, and I think tomatoes there. Okay, we're also going to need to get metal conveyor belts and metal mine rails, and get mining technology up, and get a fishery, as well as getting to tech level 5. Now, there is actually iron and coal on this island, so it may actually be possible for us to complete this all on one island, but there's a good chance that we're going to be doing at least a little bit of work on one of the other islands as well. We already have quite a good foundation for our workers with a possible expansion available of 16. We've got a little bit of food on the go. Well, let's start things out. I think we're going to move around some of these houses. And the first house we're going to move is actually going to be this one. Let's have this one over here right next to this well as well. We'll pop it right there though. This one can stay all the way there. And the reason for this is because I would very much like a marketplace to be built on this tile. I think that's going to be perfect for us. Can I not place it down? Oh, we likely don't already have the materials for it yet. We need to get some stones on the go. Alright, well that's fair enough. What kind of buildings do we have access to? Do we have barns yet? We do. Okay, perfect. Now, there was some confusion over whether crates actually do give access to the global inventory or not. So let's go ahead and start off by building one crate and just seeing if this results in any stones being available to the global inventory. Yeah, they absolutely are going into the global inventory. So there you go. That answers that question pretty categorically, I feel. Right, now that we've done that, can you pick up the stones and drop them off over here for the time being? We are going to want to get a barn up and running, and we're going to need stones for that, so that's fine. Let's get a couple more meeple to help out with this. Let's grab some stones, please, and bring them over here, and you can go back to doing that task as well. This crate, no doubt, will be of use to us at some point in the future, so I'm going to just shift that one over here. Oh, that is a meeple, I do apologize. Let's shift that crate over here, and we'll just leave that one there for the time being. Now, once we've got a barn up and running, I'm thinking of having the barn responsible for gathering stones. Indeed, I would like a couple of things that the barn could be used for. Down here we have our little lumber mill, and I'm thinking maybe this house instead could move, and perhaps we could even have this house just over here instead, and the lumberyard can move down there. That will give us a little bit of room then for us to build a barn. Initially, what I would love to do is make sure that our people aren't dropping everything over here, that they've got a relatively short distance to walk. So instead, let's drop that off in there. And in fact, I would like a couple more meeple over here to help out. 2 to move the planks over here as well, and 1 to move the logs from over here in there as well. Right, and we want to set this up then to have some very specific storages. Let's go ahead and disable the last 2 storages, have logs in the first and planks in the second. We are probably going to want more than 50 planks, realistically speaking, but for now I think that should be okay. And we'll also have another barn just about here, I think, right there. And for the time being, this one as well will be set up just to accept stones, and then nothing else for now, but eventually we're going to want bricks going in there too. And so all of the meeple can now move stones across, except for you, who's going to be responsible for collecting stones and dropping them off. There we go. That will be wonderful. That's going to clear out most things out of the inventory there. Next job for us then, I would say, would be to get a farm up and running and start actually delivering food directly to a market. So to that end, I'm going to remove all of the little bits and bobs right there. Now, a farm right here would immediately be able to make use of this grain, but ultimately I would kind of like to be able to get that grain then over into the marketplace fairly quickly. Now, how will we do that? Let's go ahead and build a farm first. Let's find the farm right there, and we can get you going here. That's almost got full access to all of the grain that's available. In fact, I'm going to allow that meeple to step out of the way. There you go. And this will no longer be your job. You can go ahead and drop things off. I'll just have you stand there for the time being. Now, the reason why it's good to get the farm switched over early is the farmer will replant, whereas a meeple will completely just strip the resource bare. So there we are. That's all set up. Now, we're not going to be dealing with watering or fertilizing for quite some time, simply because we're not going to have fertilizer for quite some time. Next job. Well, actually, we should already have the ability to build the food market. There we go. Right. You can start by moving grain across. There you go. That'll be marvelous if you would do that for me. Thank you. We would very much like... Have we got the ability to build fluid pipes? We do. Well, let's start stockpiling some of those then. And I'm going to set you up to hold the fluid pipes. And that way, we'll pipe water directly to all of the houses. And that'll make them a little bit happier as well. We'll get an extra meeple working on that. Please and thank you. You can drop off there. Right, have you all done your jobs? Yes, you have. Perfect. Right, let's get you down here then. And you can, in turn, start lumbering. We've got an awfully large amount of wood needed there. Now you see, I've done a bit of a silly. I've placed this here, but really I want to shift it back a little bit. Oh well, that'll have to wait until the future. It'll be a barn right on the edge here. Maybe I can move you. It's unlikely that I can move you, again, simply because you've got things in you, I suppose. Now, of course, wood is going to stockpile in there, but I think they will use the wood out of there first, so it doesn't really matter over much. All right, the next thing I would like you to do is pick up from here and deliver there. There you go, that'll be perfect, and then everyone will have access to it. Okay, so that's a good little start. Next thing we're going to want to do now then is for us to get a grain mill up and running, or rather a food mill. I will eventually remember. We will have you right about here, I think. Actually, we'll have you pointing out in this direction. We'll set you up to make some flour. There we are. Now, I would very much like it for meeple and eventually wagons to be able to move freely back here. So we're going to preempt any issues by building a little pathway that the meeple themselves can move under. And there we go. We'll just have that one deliver the grain directly to the mill. At this stage, I would like you instead to move the flour across. There you go. Perfect. Okay, really happy with that. Now, there's no room in here, so we've got a bunch of meeple who don't directly need anything to do with stone, so we'll get you working on another job, which is almost certainly going to be lumbering for the time being. We will eventually move that up to a forester. Actually, do we have the means to build a forester? We do. Well. I'm afraid you're about to lose even more work. Ah, damn. You just got a job as well. I feel bad. Actually, I need you to drop all of this off. There you go. And then, once you've done that, you can come along down here. You've got nothing to do. You there as well. You down here, please. And you need to take from here and drop off there. And you need to take from here and drop off there as well. There we go. Let's grab that. Drop off. There, perfect. Okay, everything is as it should be. Right, we're going to need a forester over here. We're actually managing to get things up and running and automated really quickly this time around, which I'm very happy for. And then we just want some logs moving along. Now, we're going to want this to be producing those logs quite quickly. So let's go ahead and pop a good many workers in there. There we are. That's wonderful. That is over 1 a second. Now, we're probably going to need a little bit more than that, but for now that will do. We're most likely going to want a setup for wagons pretty soon, if I'm honest, simply because of this. On that note, let's improve this little pier over here just a tad, shall we? I think we should. Let's get this down there. Oh, and there we go, all the way up. Oh, I'm actually out of resources. Wow. Let's get rid of that. Okay, well, are we... Oh, of course, yes. We're not actually bringing the logs themselves over here. So let's get 2 workers to do that as well. Drop off. There we are, perfect. In fact, we almost certainly want to make sure that this gets the delivery first. Do we have the pusher logistic block? We do. Excellent. Well, in that case, then let's automate this as well. I'm afraid you're going to have to wander yourself over here. There we are. And this can just deliver straight down. No, out the way, please. Thank you. There we are. Excellent. In that case, honestly, those people are not going to be needed there for the time being. Okay, looking good. In fact, we probably don't need all of those meeple either. Alright, well that's freed up some workers. In fact, we can then pop a couple of you in here to keep things going. There we are, nice and fast. And on that note, let's go ahead and hook up the well to some of the houses, shall we? Alright, we're going to want to pop down there, like so. Also up here and across. And I think that's going to more or less be it. Yeah, I think... Oh, actually, no, we've got 3 over here as well. Let me just take care of that as well. We can bring this up there and have another branch. There we are. This one can carry on through. So it should drop off if there's means. At this point, you would be completely correct in assuming that we need more wells. You're right, we do. Right, let's go ahead and pop down some... In fact, we could pop the wells down on the coast if we really wanted to. Alternatively, we could have a couple of wells in the town, and there is something nice about that. In fact, so nice that we're going to do just that. Let me just make sure where the path is going. We're going to have a little well over here, and we're going to connect directly up to this route from that well. So something like that. There we go. Now this well is only going to serve these, but that should cause a backlog of water down this route, which means that this well then can serve these ones. But perhaps I should have another well perhaps over here. I mean, I think it's kind of cute to have wells dotted around the town. It makes a bit of sense, really, when you think about it, that they would have multiple fresh water supplies, you know, hither and yon. There we go. That's perfect. That'll keep a very healthy supply of gold coins coming in. Now, with the supply of the logs complete, let's finish up the little area down here. There we go. Perfect. That's going to give us a little bit better path. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is because ultimately I want to have some wagons come down. But before then, we're going to actually start needing to make the wagon wheels. But where are we going to place that, I wonder? Let's go ahead and have our first workshop about here, I suppose. We can easily make that happen. Right there. And this workshop, the first thing I'm going to want from you is wooden wheels. Ultimately, we are going to want to start doing some research pretty soon. Let's get the wooden wheel production set up, though. We're going to need planks for that. Now, currently, we can't make wooden conveyors. Oh, actually, we can make wooden conveyors. Yeah, let's go ahead and get into that early, then. Right, I'm going to need 2 of you. 1 to bring over some logs. And 1 to bring over some planks. Let's get that happening. And in here, I'm going to say that whilst we do want the wagon wheels stockpiled, I'm going to say that we want the wooden conveyor belt stockpiled here first. So let's have that set up and get a new meeple to bring those over. Oh, wrong thing. We want the wooden conveyor belts because that's going to allow us to drastically improve the automation here. Let's have a look at you. There we go. We should have our first wooden conveyors available shortly. So with that... no, we actually don't have them yet. Have they not been brought across? Let's make sure that... Oh! I forgot to tell them they were actually allowed to store them. There's two things you need to do. One, tell them what they're allowed, what they're meant to be bringing over, then tell them that they're actually allowed to put it in there. Right, so with that done, we can now go ahead and have the planks themselves brought across. So let's set up the filter on this for planks. And ultimately, we're also going to want to bring over the pipes as well. There we go. Let's get the conveyors in place as well. As soon as you scooch away. There we go. Thank you very much. Right, you are no longer needed there. The planks are being delivered automatically. And on top of those, we're also going to deliver the... we'll bring across the wooden pipes as well. And that way, everything is being moved across, all without the need of our meeples to worry about it. You can go and enjoy lazy days, reading books and being happy, maybe painting, possibly thinking about thinking. It will be the birth of philosophy. Ah, grand times are ahead of us. Now, with that, we are going to have to decide how we're going to deliver planks down here, though. I would primarily... Well... I mean, I could just have a splitter just to make sure that things are split evenly, and there is something to be said about that, actually. We could do the same then with planks being brought down here. Now, the issue for the logs, though, is they're going to be a little bit more of a pain to move across. I could always have a conveyor taking them direct out of here, but there is a problem with that. I don't like removing things from my building supply. This is basically my building supply area, and once it's in there, I don't really want it being brought back out again. That being said, our plank production would probably be greatly improved if I could do that. So how about we also have... This is going to be a bit of spaghetti right from the onset. I know some of you will be very happy about this, and others of you will already be groaning. Nevertheless, it has to happen, so here we are. We're going to bring this up and over, all the way across. There we are. And from this point, it will need to be wooden conveyors, simply because I don't have a means of taking them up an incline otherwise. But from the top, it can go back to being a chute. There we go. Marvellous. No longer need to deliver any logs directly across. That's all sorted. Perfect. And the next step then would be planks, I suppose, and we could easily enough have them be delivered directly from the mill. So let's go ahead and set that up as well. So planks just down there. Now we're going to need a pusher at this point, or rather a splitter. Let's make sure we've got a splitter. Now, ideally, the planks won't be split over here, and they'll never try to be, so it'll never clog this up. And the reason for that is that planks can't move onto a chute, so we're making use of the fact that chutes are going to restrict that. The final thing that we're going to need to do then is another storage, actually. Another storage barn. Now, one thing I could do is I could remove these and shunt this across a little bit and then fit another barn just over here. That would actually be a very tight little industrial area. I'm going to be honest, I'm kind of pleased with the idea of it. If we pop that in there, and then we could have a barn just here. Now, there is a reason why I'm leaving it just to the side like this. And that is so that I can have a conveyor, remove the wheels, and also... Well, actually, you know what we could do then? Is instead of having these be stored over here, I'm going to have this to be emptied. There we are. And I would like you to take from here and drop them off there. And in here, we're going to have the two products that the workshop is going to make. And this will keep things nice and simple. That filter, by the way, filters the entire barn. You don't want to set that one. There we go. And we will have the wooden wheels. And then everything else will be set not to accept. There we are. Perfect. Right, with that done, we now need just 2 conveyors. So one there and across. And this one, of course, will be set to shift the conveyors. And then another one just above it in exactly the same configuration. Oh, that is my bad there. Let me get rid of that. And add that back in. There we go. Then we want the conveyors again on the top, straight in. And these ones will be the wooden wheels. Marvellous, I think. Absolutely marvellous. You're no longer needed there. And you are definitely no longer needed there as well. Okay. That is an entirely, actually quite a tight little design, I think. It's entirely self-contained. No use of meeples in transporting, just in the actual production of the planks and the production of the wood, so on and so forth. We do have a little bit of a slowdown with the planks being delivered down here, but that's pretty much... It's being delivered as fast as I can deliver it. That being said, there is one way that I could increase plank delivery speed. And that is by having... Okay, it's kind of an unorthodox position, but if I put the grabber there, and then change this up to be planks, then because the conveyor belt is immediately facing another direction, it'll be brought out and then immediately shunted in the new heading. And there we are. That's now full of planks as well. That is absolutely perfect. We could do with a couple more workers in there, though, to make sure that everything's being made as quickly as it can. And there we are. Marvellous. We have got a pretty good little initial building industry to set us up with some wheels and indeed conveyors to get everything else automated. And on that note, it's time for us to do just that. Okay then, so the first bit of automation down here, well, I say automation, but realistically I just mean more efficient delivery, is to remove that meeple. Sorry meeple, but it is time for you to go. Next, we need to improve this ramp. It's not much of a ramp yet, and that is the part of the problem. Let's go, well, since we're going to be going for a cart, I'm going to say we probably want to use a wooden scaffold ramp for this. And the reason why I would rather reason why I would rather a wooden scaffold ramp is specifically so that we can upgrade it to whatever type of road we want as we go. There we are. I'm going to need to bring that all the way up, and then we can finish this off with the ramps. Because eventually we're going to want to switch over to using a stone road. There we go. All in place. And now finally we can get a wagon. Chonk. And we're good to go. Right, that can be delivered directly over there and you can move forward at time. That is significantly better than what we've had up to now. Right, so with that all done, the next step for us in terms of reaching the next tech level is to get the production of cloth conveyor belts and of wooden rails. Now the wooden rails are not so bad. We can make them in a workshop just with a bit of stone and some planks, so that one will be fairly easy. Later on then we're going to want to use a machine shop with those wooden rails and add a little bit of iron to make that into the metal rails. And the metal conveyor also going to be made at the machine shop, so probably we're going to want a separate area for that. And in fact, as well with the cloth conveyor, I'm going to say we're more than likely going to want to get all of that done fairly close together. And so I'm kind of thinking that we're going to have an industry springing up around here. But we're going to need to get some metal for that. And we're also going to need to do some research, something that we haven't actually been doing at all so far. Now, one of the things that we can do for that is we could have a second lumber mill with piped water that will then deliver that directly into, well, we could actually send it directly in here, I suppose. If we brought over a little bit of cloth, or rather cotton or wool, then we could make books straight away, which does allow us to sell that knowledge just that little bit faster. But I'm thinking, well, we could definitely do that. Still, I don't think that's necessarily the best way of doing it. Instead, we could have some trees being chopped over here. Again, pipe some water into a lumber mill and have our research kind of hub over on this side. I think that's probably going to be the better way of doing it. So let's get a forester up and running. Now this one is going to be able to do two things for us. One, it will be able to gather wood, and two, it's going to be able to gather apples. Both of which I think we're going to want. Now the apples, I'm going to say, are going to need to be sent directly down into a crate. Something along those lines. We're just going to bring this road all the way up and connect it in. The apples can come out here. And thankfully, those can roll. Let's take them along in this direction. And we'll just move the crate just down there. Actually, I should have probably used this crate, but oh well. I'll just pop this one over there just for the time being. Right, apples away. Let's set those ones up. There we go. And we're going to want a new wagon that can collect the apples and deliver them straight to the drop-off down there. We can also upgrade the town if we want to, though it's going to take a little bit of time to be able to get there. Now, specialty time. Let's have a look. We could go with forestry, I suppose. That would actually help with a couple of things. So sure, let's specialize in the forestry for the time being. Now, next step in this process, we're going to want a lumber mill. And this one we can set up perhaps... I would like it possibly right up against the road somewhere around here. This way we can have the road just run along there. And this time we can have the wood come out and in on this side. Nice and easy. There we go. Right, we're going to want you to be making paper and only paper. But for that we're going to need another well. So let's get that done. And we can pop that well just about there. And fluid pipes to connect that up. Donk. Perfect. Right, will that be able to produce enough water? Will that get water fast enough, I wonder? Yeah, it looks like at the moment that seems to be happening quickly enough for us. Right, it's time for the school. Now, as I mentioned, we might want to, at some point, have this set up to produce books. But for the time being, I think we're good with just having the school over here. And once again, we're going to just bring the product directly from where it's being produced via some wooden conveyors. There we go. Perfect. All right. Now that will start selling to the colony. Now, as for the flour over here, that's not coming out all too fast, so let's speed this up a little bit, shall we? And with the increased production in flour, we can increase the deliveries of flour. And this one I'm going to say let's opt instead to have that one delivered directly again. This one can't be moved along... Well, actually, no, I think it can be moved. Is that right? Yes, it can be. Fantastic. All right, so we'll deliver directly into the marketplace that way. Alright, that's gonna keep the gold flowing in very nicely and the townhouses themselves upgrading constantly as well. Let's go ahead and upgrade our population level as well, though. There we are. Marvellous. That gives us a little bit more to work with. On that note, shall we move around some of these houses? I think we should. Let's have a little house down here by the docks. There we are. And then we'll add in one or two more up here. One here, one there. There we go. Marvellous. Alright, we are going to need a kitchen over there eventually, but that's not going to be the focus for us just yet. Let's have a look at research. Kitchen actually will only take 200 research points to get to, so that's not too far away. But the animal pasture, which is gating a lot of our stuff, is unfortunately a little ways off just yet. We are moving... Well, actually, it's not going too badly right now. We could increase the speed that we're producing the paper just a little bit, but realistically speaking, it doesn't look like we've got that much of a problem with it as it is. Let's pop you up all the way to 5. There we go. That should be doing quite nicely for us. Let's have a look at the happiness overall. We've got a reasonable satisfaction. The 100% of the houses are happy. with the supply of apples. Fish is okay, but there is like a little bit of a gap in how much I'm bringing in, so we might want to improve that when we get the chance. One way that we could improve that, and something that I want to get on the go reasonably soon, is going to be a stonemason. Let's pop the stonemason just about here. There we are. And also expand this out a little bit. And from now on, I'm going to say we're going to want a conveyor to deliver all of this material between both locations. Right, you two, head on over here, please. Now, it's always going to be Meeple working this particular job, or at least until very late. Simply because stone cannot be mined by a wagon. Right, let's have you make some stone bricks. There we go. And I would like to make this split evenly between the two locations. There we go. Right, stone bricks then will need to be delivered, and I would like it very much if they would be delivered here. There we go. Let's set that one up as well. And we can almost certainly have a conveyor taking care of that. There we go. And right there. We're going to need a grabber to extract. Perfect. Alright, not bad at all, I must say. We can upgrade the town center, so we'll go ahead and do that. Expand its storage a little bit more. Is there anything in it? There is a little bit in there. Do I want to move it out? I kind of do, so I can move the town itself, but I'm not even sure if that's going to be possible now that we've made it a speciality. The next thing we can do, and you know what? We can actually make use of this crate finally, at long, long last. We're going to pop that there, and I'm going to grab a couple of meeples. Let's go 1, 2, 3. There we go. I would like you to gather these berries and deliver them into the crate. Now, I could put a farm down here, but honestly, that doesn't look like it would really make too much sense. I would have to do so much work to make a farm fit and be able to harvest these there that it kind of runs contrary to what would be productive for us right now. Right, we can now get the pasture though. And that's the big thing we're going to need, because as we can see, we've almost made our way through all of the green over there. So let's go ahead, grab a pasture. Now, we don't need strictly to have that over here. We could have that down here. Maybe we'll even set up a second town in this location. That would actually be the first time that we've had to spread out and have two separate towns working on any kind of project. I would lose a couple of grain by placing it here, but I would gain so much more. So we're going to go ahead and do that. There we are. So they're going to be producing the grain, so now we need the food mill. Haha, I said it right the first time. This time I'm impressed with myself. I hope you're as impressed as I am. Let's get that being piped straight across. This time, though, we're going to want some animal feed directly from grain. And finally, we're going to want a pasture. Now, what are we going to want with the pasture? If we actually get leathers, then we can immediately use that to make books. We could use paper and leather to make book, or we could go for wool. And again, we could use wool then to make cloth to make books. But cloth would also have additional uses, since cloth is going to be used to make conveyor belts. Does seem to lean in that direction. I think we're probably going to go with the wool option. And then any excess cloth we have can be delivered to a workshop, used to make books, to feed into the industry down there. So let's get that pasture up and running. Let's go for 2 separate areas for this. Oh, we are out of stone. Wow. Okay, I think maybe we need a couple more meeple working on this then. There we are. Let's get you over there. That being said, we have done a lot of building relatively recently, so it is to be expected, I suppose. Let's get that all delivered in there. There we go. And I would very much like it if you would be so kind as to make me wool and, of course, some fertilizer as well. And one of the things we can do immediately with that is we can take the fertilizer out and deliver it straight to the farm. But we are going to want a couple of other things. I think we're going to want a barn over here, and we will actually transport materials from the barn that we have down to the other town. I think that's going to be the smartest way of playing this one. So let's draw that out properly. Now, of course, these aren't going to be connected up to the town, but I would still like to make a connection along a road somewhere. That way, should we build another town centre, then they will all benefit from that. Now, this barn, let's start off by making it so it doesn't accept anything except fertilizer. Let's have fertilizer. And since we're going to want to be delivering wool from this place, we will set it up to accept wool as well. Though that being said, I could just go straight ahead and make the cloth. That might be worthwhile, actually. So to that end, sure, we won't have that being stored as wool. We will have it stored as cloth instead, and we'll pop down our own workshop just up here. Perhaps even we could place a workshop. Well, we're going to have a workshop down here regardless. In fact, this road is a little out of place now, so let me just go ahead and fix this up. And of course, we're not just going to have the road have to travel over the ground like that. No, we're going to draw that out so that it's all nice and neat. And we can have the workshop just down here that will be making the books. We'll set that up in a moment, though. We'll have the workshop responsible for making the cloth right here. Draw that out there. And there we go. We want cloth from wool. And then we will deliver the wool down here by cart, I'm thinking. To that end, we're going to need to expand this out just a little bit more. There we are. And bring that up. I like having nice big double roads if I know I'm going to be using an area specifically for the delivery of goods via wagon. There we are. And that one can now accept this as well. I think it's probably wise for us to have wool being made with both, because we are going to go through quite a lot of it, I fancy. Quite a lot. Right, let's go ahead and add in some more homes, because we are tragically out of workers. Let's add in a couple more here and there, and have a little one back here as well. I think that'll be lovely. There we go. That'll give us enough just to get things on the go at least. Let's have one person working there. Right, need a well. Well, actually, we're probably going to need... since we're likely to want to deliver it down here as well, let's pop 2 wells, or eventually 2 wells over here. For now, let's just get these hooked up with some water. There and there. And then this one can deliver the water down to... Oh, actually, no, we don't need one. We've already got a well down there, and I'd completely missed that. But we will be delivering water eventually over here. Now, with that in mind, we are also going to want to bring fertilizer. We're going to want to split it evenly between the 2 locations, delivering it over to the barn eventually. So I'm thinking what we'll do is it's going to look a little bit weird to do it this way, simply because of the way that it ends up expressing itself. We're just going to bring it over here. But although these buildings are fairly low down, they do still respect the idea that you can access anything from their sides as long as it's within the first 3 height blocks of the building. So with that done, I'm going to have... Let's see if we can get that to look right. There we are. 1 and 2. And bring this all the way along and connect it up. There we are. And I would like the manure, or rather the fertilizer, taken from both of these. There's 1, and you can take it as well. There's 2. Perfect. Now that's going to allow me to start placing down the fields over here, and this is probably the first place that we're going to actually do that. I would like the delivery to access it in right here. Well, actually, I could put it just above the grain output there. That makes a lot of sense, actually. Right, especially since we're going to be splitting it. I'm using splitters a lot more in this episode than I have in the previous ones, and I'm quite interested to see how well it does, frankly. That should automatically supply. But we do now have some fertilizer, so let's go ahead and place down a couple of farm plots just around the edge. Just enough that we can actually get this going. There we go. Got another one in there. Need to wait on one more. And... well, no, that one came over this way. Need one more. Come on. Someone eat some food and poop. Please and thank you. No, they're not going to do that. There's now too much wool is built up. Ah, my lord. Fine. Right, well, in that case... once again, I think we're going to go with bringing the produce over the top and in. But this one will need the conveyors. So let's use them to convey. There we are. And we will bring out the wool. Wool does not roll down chutes. Sadly. But it is a truth. There we are. That will deliver it all across. And it's only the long-distance transports that we can actually use any wagons for. Mining and transporting things over a distance where it doesn't make sense to use a conveyor is probably the only places that we're really going to be doing it. Right, we're going to want more workers in here if we can get them. There we are, since we are going to be having quite a lot of this delivered. And then finally, we can do exactly the same down here and deliver the cloth into the warehouse. There we are. Once we've got cloth belts... oh, my lord, is that going to be useful? There we go. Perfect. Right, we're going to want the books made down here. And to that end, I would like the paper to instead be just brought out and back in. It does look a little bit jank, I know. It would be wonderful if they had connected textures, but I think we can all live without. It's fine. We will make do. There we are. And delete all of that. There we go. And finally then, we need some wagons. I say finally with great confidence, but it's nothing final about it. Alright, we want cloth from here, delivered here. Actually, I suppose that's the only place right now. We haven't actually built, and this is something that did occur to me a little bit ago. We haven't built any general store. So our people have just been having food from us. And that is all they've been having. And they've been apparently okay with this. Though how okay is maybe debatable. We'll see. I think we do need to get a general store up and running relatively soon though. Right, we do not need that much work, manpower in here for how quickly we're delivering the wool. I keep wanting to say cotton. Right, let's get some more farmland around here if we can. Let's just build this out. There we are. And I will add in a little bit of extra corn down there. Honestly, that much farmland and then the natural corn, natural wheat, grain rather, I suppose, is probably more than enough for us. We do want to bring that in a lot faster though. That is part of the reason why this is all slow. Is right now we're not processing the material nearly as quickly as we could. There we go. Let's get that moving out. And I think we can suffer taking it just that little bit faster. Okay, it's starting to drop ever so slightly. So there we go. That should be good enough. The animals have all of the food that they could possibly want, which I'm completely okay with. And I'm just going to upgrade them rather than put extra manpower in there. We're going to allow them to work smart rather than hard. There we are. What's the next on our list? Oh, we can actually increase our population level again. Wow. I'm kind of impressed with that one, if I'm perfectly honest. But research points are flowing through very well. We can now unlock the kitchen. Marvellous. We can unlock boat building, if I'd particularly like to. And I might do, in fact, we could increase our town centre capacity. I think we're going to upgrade our town centre capacity, yeah. That one makes a lot of sense. The boats would help us out with gathering more fish. Are we actually doing relatively well with that? We are doing relatively well. But that might not always be the case. And I will also learn coin boosters so that we can upgrade even more smart not hard methodology for our production. With that done, I actually think that we might be able to, instead of using a crate and a wagon to deliver the fish, at this point we could probably upgrade. We could probably upgrade to using a barn and a conveyor to move the fish along. That being said, 2 wagons could probably move the fish faster than a wooden conveyor could. So let's wait until we've got a better conveyor to take care of that at the very least. But we are making reasonable progress, so we haven't quite gotten to any of the goals here just yet. But I feel that we've actually managed to do a fair bit of good work around the colony. We've got some pretty solid industries, quite tightly built. We've got all of the wooden materials that we're going to need for quite some time being built down here. Obviously, we do need to make the wooden rails as yet, but that will come shortly. We have finally got a bit of farming industry up and running. How are we doing for water down here? We are not doing well for water down here. So how about we add in a couple of extra wells just here and there, hither and yon. There we go. And this will hopefully allow us to get a bit more water to where it needs to be. There we go. That will help a lot. We've also got a dedicated well now for the farm. That'll be perfect. But I'm actually pretty happy with this as a foundation for Island 3. We are going to be getting heavy into ironworking in the next episode because sadly we have run out of time. But I think this is a pretty good place to wrap things up. We've got a very, very solid foundation upon which we can build in the next episode. I really do hope you've enjoyed this one though, and will be joining me for the next. But until next time, and as ever, do take care.